The one that was here died. If you go back about 50 episodes, you will see there was a plant that was slowly dying here. I love throwing stuff away almost as much as I love hoarding, so it's like a weird balance. I feel really bad. And then I just said, I feel really like frustrated. And I'm like, I don't feel frustrated. I don't know why I'm saying it. I always think of it like a pre-built answer. It's just like a socially acceptable answer that I just produce. I'm going to undress this podcast slowly. I was going to say undress you, and then I realised no, because that would be assault probably. And I was like, no, sir, you've got it very much wrong. Until I go back and listen, I'm like, wow, did I say that? It just comes out, you know? It's just like, I listened to Emma Chamberlain's podcast like in the past. I don't listen to it anymore, sorry girl. She would say the same thing, and I kind of get that same sense of I can talk continuously, but I have no idea what I said. Oh dear. I literally just recorded another podcast episode before this, and I've been talking into the microphone, and I realised that I've recorded it on my fucking MacBook microphone, so it sounds like shit. So I'm very sorry. It's going to be an episode coming up, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I'm not going back and doing the whole 30 minutes again. It's listenable, okay? It is listenable. And thank God the MacBook Pro microphone is relatively okay. So anyway, after that, today I'm just like frustrated with my day a little bit. Not really. Sometimes I say things that I don't really mean because like I'm not feeling that frustrated. And I just say it, you know, like sometimes I'm like, I'm really sorry. Sometimes I honestly like don't feel sorry about stuff, or like minor things, right? Okay, minor things. Or I'll just say stuff that I feel really bad. And it's like, well, I don't actually feel bad. Why am I saying that? And I just said, I feel really like frustrated. And I'm like, I don't feel frustrated. I don't know why I'm saying it. It's just like I always think of it like a pre-built answer. It's just like a socially acceptable answer that I just produce, and I don't actually mean it. But anyway, what I'm talking about today, hopefully, let's double check, definitely using my microphone, because this, you know, the microphone sounds much better. Today we're talking about the art of thinking nothing and how to get into that mind space, you know, like basically sometimes I get into that mind space and I honestly feel like a rock star. I'm like, I feel so good. I feel like, wow, how could I ever live life out of this mind space, you know, out of this like existence of actually feeling. But yet I spend probably 99% of my life running around, not really thinking about what I'm doing, just sort of existing, doing chores, doing stuff, and not really like being present. And I know that a lot of people have been like talking about it recently, and obviously now I'm like thinking about it because I'm going to Asia and there's a lot of Buddhism there. And Buddhism basically was pretty much the birthplace of meditation, mindfulness, and things like yoga, I believe. Don't quote me, I might be wrong on that. But I find myself not in a place like that most of the time, and that's kind of sad because it's actually so nice. Like, I don't know if you've ever been there. If you haven't, you won't know how nice it is. It's honestly like, it's such a relaxing place to be. You think about nothing but what you're doing right now. And it's honestly great. Now, when I'm podcasting, I wouldn't say I'm like in that space because I'm actually thinking about what I'm saying and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Although, to be fair, I don't necessarily think that much. I don't know if you've noticed. I just sort of talk. And whatever comes into my head, I say it. Like literally, I just talk. And it's you know, a lot of practice has gone into this a continuous talking sphere where I can just literally talk for hours on end without stopping. It's kind of an improv exercise, but also I'm just quite good at chatting shit. So, you know, and now I'm well practiced at it. Did you know that I am now on something like my 120th episode? So yeah, it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. Plus or minus a few, you know, because actually some of the episodes are just like trailer episodes, or some of the episodes are oh, I'm not feeling so well today, guys, so I'm not going to be podcasting. There was one episode like that. I'm also not feeling that well today, but the thing is my cough is actually controllable, so we're gonna carry on. So I'm also just chopping them out post-production. I'm like, right, we're going to go through, we're going to take all the coughs out, because you can just see it on the spike. So I would describe, do you know what, I didn't realise that it was basically mindfulness until I went on to ChatGPT, which I do quite frequently, I'm not going to lie, and I typed in, where is it? No, that's the wrong way. How to think about nothing. And it started to like go into like some kind of deep, weird shit about thinking about the actual like noun, nothing. And it was talking about like how I could think about different versions of nothing, as in mathematical nothingness. And I was like, no, sir, you've got it very much wrong. I did not mean that. But then I typed in, okay, and then I thought, like, what do I really mean by nothing? And then I realised that it was mindfulness. Like, how can I get into a real, true state of mindfulness? So I typed that in and I got a better answer. So that was a bit of an ambiguous term, but to me it is like a state of nothing. But like, I guess actually it's not. It's a state of being present. So, you know, it's a state of noticing, like, you know, the sounds and the feelings. But the thing is, you can do that sometimes. I can feel my face, you know, I'm feeling it, but I'm not present. I'm not present right now. I'm just feeling my face. And sometimes I tell you what, I do some of these mindfulness exercises and I think, this ain't going nowhere. Like, I don't feel like I can get to a place of nothingness, and that's the place that I want to be. It really is great. Ooh, I feel like it is nirvana, it is ecstasy, it is euphoria, all of those words. Heaven, heavenly. I often get it. There are a few places or a few times. Number one, when I'm in a new place, I notice everything. I'm noticing, if I'm in my same old fucking house, same old city, I like do stuff and I just don't think about it. I'm on like autopilot. I'm like bum 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 bum. I know where everything is, you know, I can just pick shit up and move on with my life. Or I'm like, you know, thinking about what I'm doing, what I was doing, or where I'm going. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, okay, I need to walk to the bus stop, but I'm not like, oh, where is the bus stop? I'm like, okay, here's the bus stop. I know where the bus stop is. So, but when you're in a new place, you have to think about all of those things, and you have to like notice all the road signs and notice the traffic and notice like where you're going and notice if somebody's following you, because that's happened in Vienna. I got stalked. Woo! So, you know, notice if you're about to be murdered, or walk down a scary dark alley and never come out again. So, you know, noticing all of these things. And I love going to new places. I'm like a constant, like, I need new. And I wish I was happy with old, but I'm not. I always want like new stuff. I'm always moving on to the next thing. And I don't know if it's a me thing or it's a generation thing or it's a human thing, but I would quite like to be happy with what I've got. But constantly, my boyfriend calls it that I'm a grasshopper. I'm like, no, I'm just constantly moving to something else. So I also get it when I'm in an empty house. And I talked about this before. Like, I don't even know what episode it was, but I get this like super relaxed feeling where I'm like, there's nothing around. Like, there's no clutter. You're just in an empty house. And I don't say, you know, it doesn't mean I necessarily want to live in an empty house, but it's just like this absolute minimalism where you're like, there's just nothing there. And it's great. I also get it when now I've written in like speech marks here, when the weather is, in speech marks, strong. Now what I mean by that is like I get a strong feeling of, you know, when the weather's just like normal, it's just like mild, it's just like meh. Whereas when I stepped off the plane in Tenerife a few weeks ago, I honestly got this like overwhelming feeling of strong weather, and it was like I'd stepped into this like paradise, you know, the heat and like the breeze. I could feel the weather. Like, I know that sounds insane. I could feel it, and I was like, wow, like this is paradise. This is beautiful. And it was amazing. So that's what I mean when the weather is strong. I also mean like when, like, sometimes I've been for walks with the dogs where it's kind of like that beautiful like drizzle, like, and it like falls against your face and it's just like silence and like there's like not loads of shit going on, you know? Or when it's really nice and sunny and just calm. So yeah, I don't know, it's just like when I can feel the weather, when I can feel the elements, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If that makes any sense. Now, how do you even get to that space? Oh, it's tricky. It's a tricky place. It shouldn't be that tricky, but guess what? I am constantly thinking about something. I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to do next. I'm constantly thinking about what I just did. I'm constantly thinking about something or other. And that's probably why I'm so good at just talking continuously. I don't want to be like, I'm so good at it. Because basically some of my friends have said like, how do you talk continuously for an hour or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know. I just firstly practice, but also this is my mind. Like, this is how quickly my mind moves. So I am therefore able just to like talk my mind. And it means that I used to have this really big block on like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Oh, I don't want to say that. Oh, is that the right way to say it? Now I just literally speak whatever comes into my mind. So I'm not even sure like what I've said until I go back and listen. I'm like, wow, did I say that? And it just comes out, you know? It's just like, I listened to Emma Chamberlain's podcast like in the past. I don't listen to it anymore. Sorry, girl. But when I listened to it in the past, she would say the same thing, and I kind of get that same like sense of, you know, I can talk continuously, but I have no idea what I said. And I don't know why or how, or I guess it's because maybe I'm like in this moment and I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just like talking, and I haven't rehearsed it, you know. I could give you a vague outline, but I couldn't be like, yeah, I said this like joke, or I said that sentence or whatever. Okay, so I have come up with a little listy boy about how I try to get into that mind space. Probably one of my main tips is, I always say that. I always start with like the main one, and then I'm like, do people want to hear the main one first, or do they want to wait? I don't know. Like, you don't just want to, if you've got like a naked lady, or a lady, sorry, undressing and becoming naked in front of you, you don't want to skip to the naked. You want to be teased into it, you know? You want to like work your way into it. You don't just want to be like, bam, and I'm naked. So maybe I'll remember that I said that. So, you know, I'm gonna undress this podcast slowly. I was gonna say undress you, and then I realized no, because that would be assault probably. Or yeah, assault. Now, I try to meditate every day. Does it happen? No. And that's because I'm shit at it, and that's because I need to become better at it. I actually recently bought some new headphones. They're fake AirPods, and I did some mindfulness last night. I did some meditation, I should call it, basically for going to sleep, because I couldn't fucking sleep. So having my headphones and just putting those in is really helpful, because Tom does not appreciate my mindfulness whilst he's trying to sleep. So I haven't got my phone on me at the moment, actually. It's downstairs. I have the Headspace app. Now, I actually started with the Calm app. I really liked the Calm app. It was basically, it had like what I would call, I guess, like soundscapes in the background whilst you could listen to your mindfulness. Now, the reason why I left was because my subscription ended and I was like, oh, let's try something different. And also because I ran out of content. Like I was just going through the same shit over and over again. So I was like, okay, let's try a different platform. Now, Headspace I've got at the moment, I generally don't love it as much, I'm not going to lie. But also I've kind of got a year subscription, so I'm like, fine, I'll just stick it out. What I don't love about it is that you can't have the soundscapes on in the background. Now, is that a big enough reason? Probably not. But I really liked them, like that rain noise in the background. So yeah, meditation is one of the things I need to be better at, I admit. Now, one way that I do try and get more meditation is I go to yoga. I actually did an episode on this recently about hot yoga, and they do these shavasana at the end. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. And also it's just like, you're like bringing your breath in, you're like being mindful about where you're putting your body, etc. So it is, whilst relaxing is kind of, and also good for your body, it's also really good for your mind, I would say. So that might be a good place to start, meditation and yoga in meditation, or anything of the sort, Pilates. There's like other kind of, things like body balance I was signed up to the other day. And yeah, I think that's probably the main one that people will come up with, but I've got more to say. I've got more to come. A lot of people think meditation is just sitting down and meditate, but mindfulness can be more than that. And you can do mindful moments throughout the day. So you can be like, right, when I pick up this toilet roll, whenever I see this toilet roll, I'm going to pick it up. I don't quite like the feeling of that, actually. That's not my favourite thing. My new iPad case feels kind of cool. So I could whenever I pick up my iPad, I could just feel the case. I'm going to look like an absolute freak, but look, I'm having a good time. I don't know. Something that grounds you to the moment that you're in. You go, wow, I can really feel that iPad. So it's a heavy boy today. Yeah. Or when you're washing your hands, just really feel the water running over you and feel your hands in between each other and the soap slippering about and stuff like that. So yeah, I should definitely do more of that. I should probably do mindfulness, or at least meditation, a few times a day. In fact, I might do some after. Why not? Let's do that. And not just right before I go to sleep, because it is good for sleep, but it shouldn't be the sole reason, the sole time that you do it, because, it is good to be mindful during the day as well. Mindful walking, our recommendations. Routine activities like brushing your teeth, washing dishes. Now, when I wash the dishes, I don't really like it that much, so I do listen to a podcast, maybe watch a video or something like that. It would be good to try and avoid that, I suppose, just actually pay attention to doing it. Maybe do that with something you actually enjoy, not washing up. Ew. I quite like hanging clothes up. I know, it's an absolute plot twist, but it is probably one of my favourite chores, is hanging clothes up. I do quite like hoovering as well, but I must admit my mind wanders and I let it, and that's the problem. So yeah, we've already talked about that. Other methods are observing your thoughts. So you'd be like, I haven't really got any thoughts at the moment. That's the confusing thing. I just tried to listen to them and I was like, I feel like my main thought was Dawn, you need to keep talking. You're doing a podcast. You can't just stop talking. But and other things, most of my thoughts are, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. Mainly responsibilities. So what I try to do is I do try to put a mental block on work. And whether that's, I only do work in here, for example, and then when I leave, that's it. I don't think about it. Or, I close my laptop and I'm done. Or I just try and complete my work. I know that's not always fucking easy, is it? Because when is work ever complete, especially when you're a content creator? It's evergreen. You're constantly needing to create more and more and more. And, you can always be on top of it more. So there is a difficulty with that. One of the biggest things I've done to just generally reduce my stress is just to do less. And that made me feel quite lazy. But then I was like, Dawn, you don't need to do a video every day. Like, calm down. I actually came off the gas pedal on my YouTube channel and it's growing, And I don't need to make shit videos every day that nobody wants to watch. People would rather, I think, me produce a video maybe once a month and it actually be good. And I'm kind of enjoying that. So my advice there is just slow down. Literally just slow down. Like, I was doing so much. I was so overwhelmed. I was constantly like running between one thing and the next, hoping that, at some point it would pay off. And these things don't come quickly. So you kind of just have to take your time, and you need to approach it at a marathon pace, not a fucking sprint, because you will crash and burn for sure. One of my favourite things to do is to write things down. Now, I've kind of come away from doing that unless I have a lot of things on my mind, because the main problem with doing that is I then look at the list and I realise how long it is, and I'm like, oh God, that's really long. Why is it so long? And then that makes me kind of upset and stressed. So I only do that if I've got like lots of things buzzing around my head and I'm like, I've got to do all of these things, but I've always got things to do, but I try to forget about them unless they are imminent. So I know that might not be the best way to go about it, but the thing is, if you go around and you look around your house, you can always find something to clean, I'm looking over there now and I'm like, oh my God, the mantelpiece, now it's not what you call it, the windowsill is dirty. In reality, I could go and clean it. But if I constantly think about everything that's dirty or that needs to be done in my house, I would never live. I would just be constantly cleaning it. So I try not to think about those things, for better or for worse. And, writing all of those things down can actually just be more overwhelming. You're like, right, I need to clean the windowsill, and I need to clean the skirting boards, and I need to clean the ceiling, and I need to write all of this down, and I need to do more and more things. One of my other things is I've been throwing lots of shit away. I've been having a good time doing it, I'm not going to lie. Every day I try and throw something away. Something that I don't need, something that, because I hold on to stuff, if I do it slowly, I go, okay, that pen doesn't work. Do you need it, Dawn? No. Throw it away. If I do it a little bit at a time, then I feel better about it. And also, you've constantly got things coming into your house, so you do need to constantly be getting rid of stuff. Otherwise, it just accumulates. And probably one of the great things I did in here to make me feel less stressed and stuff like that was to firstly just organise my desk so it's not a fucking mess. Secondly, to put things away in drawers because it was just all over there. And I'm trying to get better furniture because at the moment I've got this horrible, I hate it. I'm sorry, bookcase, but you're ugly. I want to get rid of it because I can just see how much of a mess everything is in it. And I don't like that. So I want drawers so I can't see the mess. Minimalism is what I'm trying to say. Get rid of all the shit you don't need. Clear environment is a clear mind, in my opinion. Tidy up your cables. I got some cable ties the other day and I tidied them all up and it was great. And just tidying. Love it. Love it. I had a real good tidy the other day. Anyway, I need to throw more shit away. I love throwing stuff away almost as much as I love hoarding. So it's like a weird balance. Like I love throwing stuff away. Probably one of my main problems is I struggle to throw stuff away because I want to throw it away in the most responsible way possible. And often doing that is way more challenging. So I end up just not doing it because at the moment I've got to go to skip, right? Or the tip. And in reality, if I just threw it in a bin bag liner and threw it in the normal bin, that would be the easiest way to deal with my problems. Instead, I'm going to go and take my electronics that have broken, my kettle, stuff like that, to the recycling centre because I want to be eco-friendly. But it's also like damaging, because it would just be easier if I just got rid of it. Another one of my favourite things is to like remove responsibility from things. And I think I said this, I had an Etsy store. It was kind of stressing me out. So I just shut it down. I was like, no, don't need it. And, it was probably costing me more money than it was worth. It was costing me more time than it was worth. And what I realised was actually, in hindsight, selling on plants online is really fucking difficult because a lot of people don't know how to look after them, sometimes including myself, and then they get damaged in transit, etc., etc. So if you sell stuff that's easier, like stuff that doesn't die, then you're on to a winner. People aren't going to message you all the time being like, how do I look after it, blah, blah, blah. It was nice to talk to people, but it was a lot of work. So I've taken that responsibility away from myself. I was just doing too much. Shift the responsibilities onto somebody else. I do find that ends up generally creating a same amount of work. If you can get rid of it altogether, great. The less I have, the better. Whereas if you end up giving responsibility to someone and they then come back to you every time it goes wrong or every time, to keep things going, So, for instance, I had a guy that managed my Etsy store, but he would, it wasn't just self-maintaining. He would always come back to me, and it was like I had to approve everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like this constant wheel of shit to do, whereas if you just go, no, bye, I'm going to get rid of that. And I just put it on holiday, and I went, no. Another way to do that is just go on holiday. Sort your house out before you leave, and then you come back to a nice house, and it's great. And you have no responsibilities, apart from keeping yourself alive and not losing your passport. And that's kind of it. Someone does your cleaning for you. You don't wash up. You don't have work. It's great. I try and do like slow tasks at the moment. Like, for instance, I have a habit of double screening. The best way would be to not double screen, but I kind of do it anyway. I don't quite know how to get out of that. If anyone's got any advice, let me know, because basically I sit and watch TV on my laptop or on my iPad or on my phone, and I'm like doing stuff whilst watching TV, and Tom says, you're not watching it, but I'm like, I am, I'm just watching it in the background, And so slow tasks for me are like reading books or reading a magazine or doing one thing at once. That could be equally a slow task. That really slows my mind down. If I'm just sat up here, I actually have a better, less exhausted mindset, I would say, if I'm just sat in my room, like this officey room, and I just do my work. And it's great, I've tried to minimalize as much as possible, although I would argue it's still a relative mess. I would like less stuff in it. I would like it to be more relaxing than it is, which is why I'm moving the furniture around. But for the moment, it's okay. There is an umbrella on the floor, open, because Tom puts it in here to, dry it, even though it's not wet. So, yeah, I think that's my advicings, really. I'm going to go and do some mindfulness now. That's going to be my new thing. Embrace mindfulness as a way of life. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention nature. Nature's so good. I've got a lot of plants in this room. You can't see any of them because the one that was here died. If you go back about 50 episodes, you will see there was a plant that was slowly dying here. I have lots of other plants, but they're just a little bit too far away and not tall enough to go here and be on the wall. So I have lots of plants in here. But they're just for decoration now, they're just my own personal collection. There's still a lot of them. But yeah, bringing yourself into nature. I really want to go back to Dartmoor because it's so relaxing. There's hardly any people there. It's just nice, It's relaxing. There's not much going on. Not many roads, animals, beautiful views. Just, yeah. That's when the weather is nice and I've got work off. That's the first place I'm going, I'm telling you. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it today. I'm going to go and sort my life out. I need to go let the dogs out and, let my voice recover. Pushing it today, doing 2 podcasts in one go, but I'm trying to get these done. I might even try and do a third. We'll see. I'll probably lose my momentum as soon as I leave here. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. If you liked it, please give a like. Thank you to those guys who do, by the way. I do recognise you. I know, I see you. And give it a 5-star rating on wherever you listen to podcasts, or whatever rating you think is applicable, but hopefully 5. And share it with your friends, family. I upload every Monday and Thursday, and I cover all things positive and shit like that. So, and lifestyle and happy life, happy wife, happy life. So yeah, come back and join me. I really need to get one of my friends on. I need to message him, because that would be super fun, because I'd like to have someone to talk to. Anyway, yeah, thanks so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. I didn't kiss on the last one, I realised, as well as fucking up what microphone I was using. So it's a bad ep all round.